good setup here, going really fast. Helps when you have good help. Okay, we're out here near Hartford, Alabama. It's Tyler with Choctaw Bee Company. And today we're actually going to do an entire video on his commercial beekeeping setup. And here's Tyler right here and his helpers. It's Carter right there and James Cook. So it's a pretty good crew, isn't it, Tyler?
Yes, sir. Good crew.
Let's cover and look at your actual setup and then we'll see it in action.
Sounds good. What I've got is a 18-foot, it's a 14,000-pound trailer. So I mounted three 330-gallon totes on it, and I've got them kind of fastened down, and then I put boards around the edges. Helps them from sliding. The strapping bands I use were cheap. It's all I thought I had better bands at the house when I put this thing together, but I didn't. But anyways, it holds them in place. So what I like to do is I like to use the middle tank to feed out of. So this is mixed sugar water. It's actually 50% corn syrup, 50% water. How I like to set my trailer up is the front tote, I'll put 100% corn syrup in. And then the back tote, I'll put 100% water in. And then as I need more feed on the trailer, you know, we may leave for the day, not really knowing how many hives we're gonna feed, what yards need feeding and stuff like that. So I don't always need 900 gallons mixed ready to feed at the time. So what I did was when I plumbed this line together, all this is controlled just by the valves on the totes. So whichever I want the inlet to be to my pump, so like today we're gonna be feeding, we're gonna start feeding out of this tote. So I've got my valve open here, and that's the inlet to my 2-inch trash pump. It's come from Harbor Freight. Buy the warranty. If it goes bad, you can replace it. And here, you notice my outlet, I've got a T here, and this actually comes facing a different way, but you can unscrew those 4 bolts and change the outlet any direction you want. So when I made my T, I wanted my elbow to be the return line, and then it's straight going into, this is a 1.5-inch Cox feed reel or hose reel, and then it's just reduced on the inside of the hose reel. There it's reduced 1.5 inches to this is just a 3/4 heavy duty garden hose. You can get it at Home Depot. It's pretty cold today, but it's still pretty pliable. It doesn't really kink up that much, and this hose has been going strong for about 2 years, and we feed a lot with it. So, cool thing about the feed trailer is I can mix kind of on demand what I need. So, Bruce, if you'll step up here, you can see the top of the totes. So this is my return line whenever I need to mix the feed. This is a IBC tote. The lid is threaded, so then that's just a 90. And then I have these quick links, gator lock, like that.
Yep.
That this just plugs into.
Yep.
So say I needed my return line to be on a different tote, I just moved the hose to where I need it. Also, when we're filling these from the house, we fill from the top. So we just hook into there and fill it as we need it.
It's got a cap on it.
Yep. I also drilled vent holes in each lid. They're really small. You know, rainwater can get in, but bees, yellow jackets, things like that can't. That allows the tote to relieve pressure as needed, and also take air in when needed. So we'll get this thing cranked up, and I'll show you all the process. I've got my valve open, so all of my returns go in here. This valve is open, so that's what's going to the trash pump. And as you can see, my return line is agitating it, feeding it from the top. So I'm actually gonna add 25 gallons of syrup and then 25 gallons of water, and I'll show you how I do that.
Okay.
So I see my line's about right here. It's about 235. So we'll take it to about 260 right here, and then we'll add water.
All right. So all you did was switch that open, and now it's going through.
Yep,
pumping into here.
I closed this line, opened this one, and now it's feeding it and taking it into here.
All right.
I've got my syrup in there I want.
Now that's fast.
Yeah, the water goes really fast.
Wow.
It's pretty cold today, so the syrup's really slow.
Yeah, it wasn't that slow. Yeah.
So now I've added 25 gallons of each. I'm going to open it up and let it recert, mix well. We've got some bleach in there, and we've got kind of our own concoction of I think it's called Pro Health. We've got thymol, a little bit of essential oils, not much at all.
Okay.
So I'll let it mix, and then we'll get started feeding.
Tell me about the bleach a little bit. How much do you put in? It's like a teaspoon per gallon or something like that? Just a little bit.
I really don't measure.
Just a little bit.
It's probably at least a quart in there. We use in-hive feeders, so the bleach helps, one, keep algae built up inside the totes minimal, and it also helps keep the in-hive feeders clean.
Okay.
And the bleach also will help it not ferment as fast, and that's what the thymol and the essential oils help with as well. We typically don't have essential oils in it, but I added some yesterday. I got a tanker load of corn syrup in yesterday delivered, and I found a jar of it we had mixed up from last year, so I went ahead and used it, but typically I don't use any essential oils. So when we get ready to feed, when we get ready to feed, we close the return line. That way the hose is fully pressurized. And we also idle the motor down. We don't need it pumping on full blast, and it also relieves a little pressure from the motor.
Awesome. So how do you have your hive set up, Tyler, for feeding?
Run 4-way pallets, in-hive feeder in each one. So
like
top box will be 7 frames, and this is a 1 gallon cap and ladder feeder from Man Lake. Pretty cold today, so the bees aren't really coming out, but I like the feeders on the inside. That way when we're feeding, like today's a cold day, all we've got to do is move the lids over 1 inch, and we're feeding. This is a feed nozzle. It's built by David Bradshaw out in California. I think his website is maybe like Bees and Botanicals or something like that.
Yeah, I think you just type in Bradshaw hive feeder, I think it pops up probably.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
Those,
it's the only thing I'll feed with. I keep backup in the supply room just in case it breaks.
Right?
Yep. So Carter, he's going along.
Carter's going along and opening them up. There's some bees. It's kind of cold today. What is it, about in the 40s, right?
Yeah, it's like 40.
40
First cold
degrees.
night we've really had in a while.
So the bees are kind of clustered down a little bit.
Yeah, there's about 50 something here. This yard, we split it in August. We split them down to singles, so they're still building back in their top box.
One thing about the way you have it set up with the feeder, you don't have to really get in the hive. You just slide it over. The bees can stay protected in the cold weather. You just feed them and leave.
Yeah. So we feed a lot from now. These bees will go pollinate almonds in California, so we'll stay on them, feeding them try and feed them at least every 14 days. We'll have a full 2 box of bees by the time we send them, but this is why we feed light, so we can feed them a lot. It really helps stimulate the queen to kind of lay through the winter for us. It's been pretty mild winter or fall so far.
So what are your thoughts about feeding in the cold? I know folks up north probably think you're crazy, but what are your thoughts about feeding liquid in the cold?
I mean, this is South Alabama. It
Exactly.
it doesn't really get that cold. I mean,
so that's why I try to tell people. It's like even if it freezes here, we're never within more than a couple of days of just having
Yeah,
a day where it's
yeah.
up in the 50s or 60s or even 70s. So
Yeah, they don't take down syrup quickly whenever it's cold, when we get the nights down in the 30s and 40s, because they don't want to break cluster to go to the in-high feeder. And like with me, like these bees are in double deeps, but a lot of them aren't really true a double deep worth of bees yet. So they are not going to break cluster and go from the bottom box up top and feed. But we get a lot of warm days. So on those warm days, they go up, they take down the feed, and I could really feed a lot quicker than every 14 days, but with, maybe having a couple nights of cold here and there, sometimes it can take them up to 2 weeks to take down a whole gallon. Sometimes it just takes them a couple days if it's warm. So,
and it's fine if it takes them longer. It's whatever it takes.
yeah, we don't want to give a hive too much feed all at once, because what are they going to do with it? We don't want them just to put honey up. If we feed them every 10 to 14 days a light syrup, they really will brood up, and you're not gorging them out on feed all at once. So instead of putting honey up, I don't want honey put up. I want them to maintain their weight, but I want them to grow bees. If I need to put weight on them, I can feed them something heavier in January before they go, but typically they finish off pretty nicely.
One more question for you. Obviously you're trying to grow bees in the wintertime as well. A lot of people aren't interested in doing that. So for those who may just be more focused on honey production, would you feed as much? Would you feed differently? What would you do if you just had production hives? What would you do?
I mean, really the reason I feed like this is because I make late splits, but also because I'm trying to send bees to pollinate almonds. So those bees have to leave end of January and be, they really want a double deep full of bees. So that's why I do it like this. If I was, just making honey production, really I would probably not make late splits. I get all my splits done in the spring, and I'd probably make sure my mite treatments were done August, September, and then use the goldenrod flow to focus on getting them heavy.
It looks like they're already getting close to halfway done here. It
Yeah.
goes really fast. It's a good setup here, going really fast. Helps when you have good help. Tyler, you got a lot of tallow in this spot?
No, actually, these bees were in town making honey, and try and get them away from folks, get them away from houses and stuff. So just a few miles to bring them out here. So I keep bees here for cotton and the rest of the year.
A cluster right there.
It's queenless. Yeah, it's a dead out.
Is it? There's no brood?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with them? Just
Turn them on their side, and if there's any honey there, the bees will rob them out, and maybe those bees will drift off into another hive, take up somewhere else. But we just leave the boxes in the yard, turn them on their side, let the bees clean them out, and then as we need them, we'll grab them. But turn them on their side like that, it keeps the wax moth from really getting in there and doing damage.
no mercy.
Yeah.
So he could just tell because there's no brood. Is that how he knew it was a dead out? Or clustered up like that. So what did he?
Whenever you're cracking lids, usually you can peek between the frames and see bees. If you don't see any up top, maybe reason to go in on them. I mean, today it can kind of be tricky. It's cold out.
Yeah.
These bees are not full double deep worth of bees, so they're probably tightly clustered. There might have been feed up top as well. A lot of times if the feeder up top has a little bit of feed left from the time before, it gives you, there's something up, for some reason you need to do an inspection.
Last pallet, huh? Let's see what we got. Oh, that looks really nice. They're clustered up pretty tightly today, aren't they?
Yeah.
How many got out here? About 50?
I think there's I think it was 55 or 56 before today. I think we've had 2 dead outs.
Two or
So
three dead outs, yeah.
probably about 54. I like putting bees in a cow field because the cows kind of take care of eating the grass around the hives and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Never had any issues with cows really. Last year I had some singles in a field, and the guy put some stalker calves in there, and they're kind of, you know, calves that come from who knows where, you know, maybe never seen a human being or anything, and they were just really curious, I guess. They went around and knocked some lids and stuff over, but as far as putting them around like brood cows, you know, cow calves, never had an issue other than that one time, but that was just calves out there.
Yeah, I got one of my bee yards in a cow pasture, and they never bother them at all.
Here at this place, whenever I had a different feed trailer, it was a car hauler trailer. It had a ramp on the back, and I've actually had a calf walk up on the feed trailer before.
Oh, have you? Well, that Bradshaw feeder is a game changer.
Absolutely. It's got the ball valve on the end, so whenever you close it, there's only about 2 inches worth, 2-3 inches worth of syrup that can actually drip. So pretty much by the time you shut it off, if you hold it up for about a second, the drip will drip, and you know,
done.
we feed a lot and we really don't have robbing issues. Gas feed nozzle would get pretty old after, you know.
A lot of people use them, but
Yeah.
that's it. What'll that take, maybe 15 minutes? About 15?
15, 20 minutes for 50 something hives.
That's
54. Carter counted them 54.
so about 15, 20 minutes for 54 colonies. That's pretty darn
Yeah.
efficient. It takes me a lot longer, but it's just, I'm a one-man operation, so, and I need to get mine set up so if I use the frame feeders, they're more on the top. That makes it a lot easier. A lot of mine are on the bottom box, and I just have to do a lot of moving, but it's cranking it up over there. It took a few seconds. He got the reel pretty much cranked up and ready to go to the next bee yard. Efficiency is key, isn't it? Makes a big difference.
That's it.
And that's a wrap. On to the next one, right?
That's it.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Bruce.
Good to see y'all. Did a great job. Y'all take care. We'll catch you next time.